Cheat sheet is a quick reference guide or concise summary of important information. Usually designed to help someone.
All right, well, it is that time for our latest segment. We're calling it Cheat Sheet, and we're going to be looking at some of the best investors, politicians, and celebrities' portfolios to see what we can learn and perhaps what we can borrow.
Before we get into it, Ren, why are we calling it cheat sheet?
Because it's a good opportunity to cheat off some of the smarter kids in the class.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's essentially it, isn't it? Like in investing, there's no cheating.
In investing, there's no points for originality.
Yeah. Like so we're going to hopefully be able to take some ideas from the big guys.
Yeah. And look, to start off this segment, we were wondering whose portfolio we should look at first. But there is no investor that captures the attention of people on social media, retail investors, more than one investor who has made incredible returns over a multi-decade period. You can't invest with her, but you can certainly track her trades. It's Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi, that's right. She is an American politician. She's been in US politics for so long.
Yeah.
And has really leveraged her connections and insider knowledge.
No. She has allegedly.
Allegedly.
Look, I think there's a pretty clear problem with US politicians having access to privileged information, not necessarily inside information, but privileged information, and then making money on the back of that. And Nancy Pelosi is kind of seen as the poster child of this. But look, we're not going to get into that conversation. There's currently a bill being considered by the US Congress to ban politicians trading stocks. So we'll let them have that conversation. But here is Nancy Pelosi's portfolio. Let's start with the companies and then talk about what we can learn from it.
So she's got Nvidia, Alphabet, Tesla, CrowdStrike, Apple, Disney, Alliance, Bernstein Holdings, Visa, Broadcom, Amazon, Microsoft, and Palo Alto Networks.
Okay, so
12 companies there.
Initial takeaways?
Well, it looks very much like the NASDAQ 100/S&P 500 top 10 holdings.
Yeah. Well, I think my initial takeaway is it's obviously very tech heavy. And perhaps that's not surprising given that she is a representative from California.
Yes.
So, they're probably the companies that she knows best. But yeah, very tech heavy. Nvidia, Alphabet, Tesla, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. So is that all of the Magnificent Seven that I just wrote out? 4,
Yep.
5, no, there's 6. So which one is she not bullish on?
So it looks like Meta. She is not a fan of, which is interesting because I now see it at the top of a lot of other professional investor portfolios.
Yeah. I guess there's probably a world where she's trying to regulate Meta. Probably not a great look to be.
I mean...
Yeah, true. That's
I don't think she's that concerned. Look, Nvidia is not surprising to see at the top as well. She's been buying that up lately, I know, has been in the media. There's a website called quiverquant.com that tracks all of her trades.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is she has gone hard since 2020 in buying. In 2020, she had trading volume of 34 million. In 2021, 20 million, and in 2022, 18 million. So heavy buying, but also has made 170 trades. So pretty active.
Yeah. Look, to be fair, I'm pretty sure a lot of it is her husband, Paul Pelosi. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he a?
No. He's just.
Oh, it's just. That's what it is.
I think, that's she's not like she's trading. It's not like she's on Robinhood trading stocks during the day. Yeah, is what I'm saying. But look, a couple of other notable names I think we should talk about. So a bit of a tilt towards cybersecurity.
Yep.
CrowdStrike Holdings, which obviously we all became very familiar with the Microsoft outage, and Palo Alto Networks, another big cybersecurity player. All right, well, that's the first cheat sheet. We've got a professional investor coming up next, but any final takeaways from Nancy Pelosi's portfolio?
No. I think it's pretty it's pretty tech vanilla. There's nothing in there that's like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, for me it's like you could just buy the NASDAQ 100 and focus on, I don't know, winning elections. But you can't argue with her results over the past 2 decades in terms of compounding capital.
No.
Speaking of compounding capital, let's move to our second portfolio that we're going to take a little peek under the hood of. We've got Bill Ackman's portfolio. Now, for people who are not familiar, Bill Ackman he's a billionaire hedge fund manager. He's been doing the thing for maybe a couple of decades as well. His firm is Pershing Square Capital Management. They're listed over in London. I don't really know what he's famous for. Back in the day, I think he was quite an activist, but he really just was he was seen as a bit of like a wonderkin back in the day. Had some incredible performance.
He also went really hard on some big short positions.
Is this during COVID?
No, wasn't it before COVID? It was on the like Herbalife.
Oh,
and,
true. Yeah.
It became
you're
real,
right.
like really came out hard on some of those. What he
you're
said
right.
were
And
like performance marketing schemes, essentially.
Pyramid schemes.
schemes.
Yeah. So how we've got Bill Ackman's portfolio is that all of the big hedge fund managers over in the US every quarter have to disclose what they've been buying and selling. It's in a 13F filing. So this is Ackman's 13F filing from the 30th of June 2024. That's the portfolio date. Here are his holdings. Hilton, worldwide, 18% of the portfolio, biggest holding. Then Chipotle, Mexican Grill, Restaurant Brands International, Alphabet, Howard Hughes Holdings, Canadian Pacific Kansas City, Brookfield, and Nike. So, initial takeaways.
A lot more interesting than Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
I like that. A couple of things. So there's 8 companies in there. So high concentration.
Yep.
If you look at his top holdings, and this is somewhat in contradiction to some of the experts who come on to talk about portfolio construction, but his top 3 holdings, let's call it, Hilton is almost 20% weighting, Chipotle is 17%, and Restaurant Brands is 15%. So hard on sort of consumer and whatnot.
Yeah. We should be clear with these portfolio weightings is they only have to disclose American holdings.
Yeah.
So he probably has some international companies, but you're right. It's a very, very consolidated portfolio.
Very consolidated, yeah. My other takeaway is there's 2, in terms of recent activity, 2 buys, one of which I think is very opportunistic in Nike.
Yep.
So that was a recent buy. This is as of 30th of June, 2024. We know very soon towards the end of June, Nike took a bit of a tumble on some earnings outlook. So maybe perhaps some opportunistic buying there. What about you?
So I think if you look at those big holdings, something that I'm reminded of again and again when it comes to investing is that the best investors, those that make the most money and have grown the most wealth, aren't buying unknown companies. When you look at their portfolios, it's not a list of companies that you've never interacted with before or you've never heard of. And if we just go down this list, Hilton, most well-known hotel chain in the world. Chipotle, so well-known as an American restaurant that we know about it here, even though it doesn't exist here in Australia.
Yeah.
Restaurant Brands International owns a number of well-known American companies, best known Burger King.
Yes. Yeah.
So again, very well known. Alphabet owns Google, very well known. It's like the top holdings are very well known companies.
Yeah.
And we've had a look at Bill Ackman's 13Fs before over the journey of Equity Mates. And the second big takeaway is that these top holdings just don't seem to change. Like year after year after year, it's Hilton, it's Restaurant Brands, and it just always is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got billions in them, so it would have been awesome to... Yeah, unfortunately, they don't put here what their returns are, but... Yeah, that would be epic to see. Because you're right. I remember seeing Hilton, Chipotle, Restaurant Brands. He's had them for a decade.
Yeah. Now, a couple of lesser known companies, Howard Hughes Holdings and Canadian Pacific Kansas City. So what can we learn about those 2 companies?
Okay, well, I'll Howard Hughes, Ren. It's not the holding company for the aerospace guy.
Okay, yeah. Yep. What was the Howard Hughes movie?
You're quizzing me. That wasn't the question.
The Aviator.
Yeah.
So
Good
it's
movie.
not about him.
Yes. No. Howard Hughes Holdings is actually a real estate development and management company based in Texas. Again, it looks like a bit of opportunistic buying. Not sure when he bought it, but it has taken a bit of a tumble it hit a bit of a low midway through April. Is only up 1.7% year to date. Not sure how long he's been holding, but there's some insight for you.
Okay, thanks. And then the other company was Canadian Pacific Kansas City. It's a railway company. We see interest in railways from a number of big investors. Buffett obviously has big railway holdings. And I guess it's because they're quite defensive assets. Like if there's one railway built, it's unlikely someone's going to invest the capital to build a competing railway these days. So they can kind of own routes. Canadian Pacific Kansas City was formed in a merger a couple of years ago. It's the only railway that connects the 3 countries of North America. It runs from Canada into America down to Mexico. And so he obviously is bullish on this railway thematic. You know, volumes are going to increase. They have pricing power, and they've got they're defensible. Similar thesis to Buffett, I imagine.
So there we go. That is Cheat Sheet segment number 1. We did Nancy Pelosi and Bill Ackman from Pershing Square. We'll continue finding portfolios from some of the best investors from around the world to see what insights we can take as we head towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and if you have an investor that you want us to have a look under the hood and see what they own, let us know and we'll see if we can find their portfolio.
Equity mind.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.